Hi, welcome to our tiny house passenger wall video tour. My name is Chloe and I was one of the members on the passenger wall alongside Naya, Annalise, McKenna, and others.
When you are looking at the front of the house, this wall is on the left, which is the passenger side. This wall holds the entrance to the door and a large window. Additionally, the frame includes extra studs that the interior bathroom wall will attach to. The door is next to the wheel well, which originally allowed for a staircase inside, but now that we have transitioned to a ladder, we are able to accommodate a large window to provide additional natural light. The vertical pieces, the studs, are around 10 feet tall with a slight decline from the back to the front to allow for a sloped roof. The track is just about 20 feet long and runs along the top and bottom. The studs attach into the tracks and the tracks are bolted onto the subfloor on the trailer. The studs are placed 16 inches on center, which means from one stud to the next. They are placed 16 inches apart from their center. In between these studs are king studs and trimmers, which are placed around the door and window frames.
So how the passenger wall was assembled is that it has multiple studs that line up exactly with the driver's side wall. So our first step in the process was to find these similarities, then make sure that the measurements lined up, then use the measurements, marked them, and used a speed square to get a straight line. And then we cut the studs with 20 gauge steel with a miter and circular saw, then measured 16 inches on the center along the track so we knew exactly where to place each of the studs, then added in the king studs and the trimmers, then cut the headers and the windowsill. Then we had to pre-drill the 16 gauge steel, then use self-tapping screws to attach the studs, the headers, and the sill to the track.
One of the biggest challenges we faced was screwing in the brackets because they were positioned at a side angle, which made it very difficult to give the drill enough force for the screw to go into the steel. Another challenge was making sure the studs were flush against the track on both sides. This was hard to do because the roof is at an angle, so each stud slightly declines in height. Throughout the process, there were some mistakes made. We had some gaps between the studs and the track, so we had to unscrew them and reattach. We also had to cut a new header for the door because our original measurements were slightly off, which shows how important it is to double check measurements and ensure accuracy when cutting. We collaborated a lot as a team, which helped us to make group decisions and have multiple eyes looking over measurements. However, next time we would organize tasks so we could split up into smaller groups, which would allow us to accomplish more during our class time. A tip for other builders is to make sure that everything is organized prior to beginning. This includes having concrete plans with measurements, all materials in an accessible spot, and backup drill bits. It takes a lot of time away from actively working on the project when you have to stop and grab more materials or are confused on measurements.
Thank you for taking time to watch our video tour of the passenger wall. We hope you learned a lot and try this on your own.